What up, YouTube? You already know it's your boy Big Lou tapping back in. What it do with Big Lou? NFZR 2, baby. So, as most of you guys probably already know, I think the Indus posted something. I didn't get to tap on it and check it out, but I seen that he posted something in the shorts, the feed. I just seen the picture of John Jones. So now John Jones has finally made his comeback after I think about a 3 year layoff or just about a 3 year layoff. Uh, was supposed to fight. It was a big hyped up fight. He was supposed to face Francis Ngannou. Uh, but unfortunately they couldn't. The front office management ownership couldn't come up with an agreement with Francis Ngannou, so he was stripped of the title and contract terminated, which John Jones was supposed to be fighting him anyways for the title. So what ended up happening is the title became vacant, and he fought. He was put up to face Cyril Gane, who was an interim heavyweight champion for a minute there until Francis came back and beat him and took away that interim. And so, anyways, it was a big, like I said, big hype. John Jones was off for like about 3 years. Everybody was anticipating his return at the heavyweight division. He didn't disappoint. He went in there last night, got the job done within the first round, and now is a two-time. Excuse me, not a two-time. He's a two-division UFC world champion. So he held the light heavyweight title, I think on 3 occasions. I think it was because he was stripped, and also he vacated it, and then now the heavyweight. So he joins. In my book, it was John Jones, George St. Pierre, and Anderson Silva as the three top guys. Um, so John Jones now joins George St. Pierre as two division champions. So St. Pierre held the welterweight and the middleweight titles, and now John Jones has become a former light heavyweight and now the current heavyweight champion. Um, I don't know, John Jones. Even though people make fun of his skinny legs and his calves and all that, the dude gets in there and he gets the shit done. Right? He's vicious. He's very strategic, very skillful. He's willing to throw elbows, flying. I don't even know what they call some of this shit he does. Roundhouses and all kinds of different shit. He's willing in there to fuck somebody up, right? Uh, and he destroyed Daniel Cormier twice. Wasn't even a competition. In that Cormier fight, he he rocked him, had him off balance, and then he was smart enough to the way he kicked him in his leg and he spun him around. It was just like unheard of. It was just like another level to this shit. There's levels just about to everything. You know what I'm saying? You got guys that are good, guys that are great, and then you got those above and beyond greatness. Something like a role player in basketball, an average player, then you got a star, and then you got a superstar, and then you got that huge ass superstar, right? So in basketball, that huge ass superstar is LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. You know what I mean? There's a few guys, the Greek Freak, and then the next level down, I would say, would probably be like Kyrie Irving, Luca's like right there, ready to cross over to the greatness superstar. You got different guys, Jason Tatum, John Morant, uh, Devin Booker. You got dudes like that are the Joker, Joel Embiid, who they're like right there, superstar. You know what I'm saying? But I believe in basketball, there's only like legitimately 4 or 5 that are huge superstars, and that's LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant. You know what I mean? Those dudes separate themselves from everybody else. So I believe the same thing with John Jones. Now, so John Jones, in my opinion, is the GOAT, right? And not only that, he had like somewhere between, because I've heard him say different things different times, and I've heard other people say different things at different times. I've heard him say that he's had 15 title fights and that he won them all, right? So now this is another title fight, even though nobody was a champion. It still was a title fight. So I've heard him say 15 title fights with 15 title defenses. And I think what the mistake was is that it's 15 title fights, but actually like 13 defenses, successful defenses. But I believe that he's the GOAT. I believe George St. Pierre's right there next to him, though. I believe they're riding in a two-seater Maserati or one of those exotic cars, and it's a two-seater, right? Because George St. Pierre, he was beat twice, but he came back and beat those guys that beat him. You know what I'm saying? And then he laid off for a while, came back, and then whooped the shit out of Michael Bisping. You know what I mean? And obviously he's a smaller guy, 155 pounds and 170 pounds. That's what he fought as. John Jones is a 205 and now a 245 or whatever he is. And John Jones was always cut up. He was always cut up in good shape. Now he just put on some extra weight and he's just more bulkier. He's not as cut up as he was, like especially his ab areas, but he's still in pretty good shape, man, and he still can get in there and do his thing. So definitely. And then you see the way Dana White threw that belt on him, like it was a proud moment for him. But I think a lot of it had to do with the way Francis, head. I think a lot of it had to do with the way Francis' head got. To be honest, I really believe that. I believe that. I believe that he, uh, Francis, by him trying to demand these certain things in his contract, I believe it just fucked him up. You know what I'm saying? And Dana had no problem fucking terminating his shit. So here we go. I want to read this. So John Jones celebrates after first round submission of Cyril Gane. John Bones Jones celebrates with his team after his first round victory to win the UFC heavyweight championship. Okay, so Las Vegas. In mixed martial arts, there has been John Jones and then everyone else for more than a decade. After a move up in weight and a 3 years away, absolutely nothing has changed. Jones defeated Cyril Gane with a guillotine choke at 2 minutes 4 seconds of the first round Saturday night in the main event of the UFC 285 at T-Mobile Arena. Jones is now the UFC heavyweight champion after owning the light heavyweight division for years. He already was regarded as the greatest MMA fighter, and this victory left zero debate, and I gotta absolutely agree with that. I've been working for this for a long time, Jones said in his post-fight interview. A lot of the people thought I wasn't coming back. I've been faithful to my goal. I've been faithful to the mission. There were days I didn't want to train, and I always was there. Frankly, Jones made the whole thing look easy. He took Gane down, got him in a seated position against the cage, and locked in on the choke. It was unorthodox. Gane seemed safe, but Jones put on the squeeze, and Gane had to tap. See, that's the thing, too. He makes it look easy. He makes it look easy, and he does unorthodox things. If you guys don't know what unorthodox means, orthodox basically means like the norm, basically. And so he does things that are not orthodox. He did things that are unorthodox. Excuse me. The submission was the third fastest in UFC heavyweight title bout. Andre Arlovsky submitted Tim Silva in 47 seconds at UFC 51. Frank Mir submitted Silva in 50 seconds at UFC 48. So Tim Silva's part of two record fastest heavyweight submissions. I've been wrestling since I was 12 years old, John Jones said. I feel stronger and more comfortable on the ground than ever. Once I got my hands on him, I knew that's where I was most comfortable and I could take control. Jones had not fought since February 2020, so it was 3 years, over 3 years. He relinquished the light heavyweight belt in August of 2020, prepping for a move up to heavyweight. Jones wanted time to move up the right way. He got it. He packed on more than 25 pounds of muscle, weighing in at 248 Friday after being 205 his whole career. UFC President Dana White said Jones went into the octagon and treated Gane like he was just a little kid. I'm a big believer in the ring rust, White said. We didn't get to see any ring rust. Who knows if there was ring rust? He just went in there and it was nothing. Like the easiest thing in the world to do. He's a freak of nature. And I've heard that said about him by different different levels of people. What I mean by that is I've heard it say by other fighters, I've heard it say by trainers, I've heard it said about him from commentators and interviewers, different podcasts, things like that. Jones had talked about moving up to heavyweight going back to 2012. He has never truly lost in the cage, with his lone defeat coming in a controversial disqualification in a bout that he was dominating. Jones is now the third fighter to win UFC titles at heavyweight and light heavyweight, joining Randy Couture and Daniel Cormier, and the eighth fighter to win titles in two divisions. Okay, so that's three there, and then you got Conor McGregor did it, right? I believe. Um, that's five. Who else? Those are five that I can think of right now. Let's see. Jones win sets up a bout with Stipe, the most successful heavyweight fighter in UFC history and a former two-time champion. Y'all want to see me beat up Stipe, Jones said in the Octagon interview. One thing I know about the UFC is we give the fans what they want to see. Stipe, I hope you're training, my guy. You're the greatest heavyweight of all time. That's what I want. I want you real bad. So now John Jones' record is 27 wins, one loss, and one no contest. Owns the UFC records for the longest unbeaten streak of 19, victories in title fights 15, and title defenses 11, tied with Demetrius Johnson. The New York native who lives and trains in Albuquerque, New Mexico, recorded a win over Dominic Reyes in his last fight in in his last fight in defense of the 205-pound title. Jones, 35, was also the youngest fighter to win the UFC title at 23 in 2011. This was Jones' first finish since 2018 and first submission victory since 2012. I've been familiar with the high praises for a while now, Jones said. I'm very aware that pride comes before the fall. I know that grounding myself is going to be more important than ever. Gane, 11 and 2, is 32 years old, was coming off a third round knockout of Tai Tuivasa in September. The only other loss of his MMA career came in the unanimous decision of defeat to none other than UFC heavyweight champ at the time, Francis Ngannou. And he was the interim champ at that time. The French fighter said he was angry with himself for the defeat. This one is so painful, Gane said. This one is a real loss. Now it's the past. I must go forward to see the future, and I'll go straight back to the gym. Yeah, he was upset with himself, and he kept making comments about, his performance and that he trained and the way he looked didn't look like he trained at all or something like that. Also, John Jones's pops was there. His brothers, Arthur and Chandler, who plays for the Raiders, right? They were there for to watch their brother make history. Um, and he didn't. I mean, the fight was so in his favor, and it's not a surprise to me at all. But it takes away from any other fight of the card. I don't even want to discuss any of the other fights. I will say this: when I did the UFC, talked about the 285 card the other day, which was, I believe I said it on Thursday or Friday. I didn't know that Derek Brunson was fighting, so I seen that yesterday when I happened to see one of the opening one of that women's fight, Hebas and Araujo. I seen Derek Brunson's name that he was going to be fighting next. I had no clue of that. I don't know, for whatever reason they didn't show it on the 285 Google the card. And from my understanding, not from my understanding, but my knowledge of Derek Brunson, he's pretty, he's considered a contender. He's considered a good fighter. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why it didn't show, but anyways, nonetheless, this is more about John Jones and the feat he just accomplished by becoming the current UFC heavyweight champ, to go along with everything he's already accomplished at the light heavyweight division. All the being the youngest dude to become a champion, the biggest, longest winning streak, like the things I just mentioned, the longest winning streak, becoming the youngest champion for a man, the men's division, any of the men's division, 23 years old, and he's pretty much held it since. Yeah, he took layoffs. He's been suspended. He's had he was stripped of the title, then came back and won it back, and then some other controversy. I'm not really even sure. But I remember when I got out back in 2017, he had fought Cormier around within my first week of being out. I remember that because I remember went to this little place with my brother. That's a little place you can have drinks, and they have the fight there, and then in the night it becomes like a kind of like a club or something like that. I don't really remember. I haven't really been there like that. But anyways, I remember that fight, and that was the one where he kicked him when he caught him and rocked him, and then he kicked him to throw him off balance. It was that fight, the second one. And so, anyways, I just think and two, with everything that he's been through, with all the controversy and all that stuff, he still has his head up held up high, which he should. And he says it straight up. Look, I haven't been the perfect person. Obviously, nobody is perfect, but he also explains that I was at this point in my life, and that point in my life, I made some bad decisions. And then I think he was a really classy and sportsmanlike of him to say when he beat Cormier that that he's proud of the dude, that he wants to be like him one day, stuff like that. I think that was very sportsmanlike of him, and and it just shows the character. I think he's a cool cat, man. He has his hangups like a lot of other people. I think another thing that sticks out to me, and I did mention this the other day, that he was training with little Henry Cejudo, who was a little bitty ass motherfucker. They got a big mouth sometimes, but you know what? It just shows that Henry Cejudo knows what he's doing. Knows, obviously, he's won a couple. Matter of fact, he's another one now. When I was saying earlier about guys that won two, there was 8 guys. He's one of them. And then he also has a gold medal in the Olympics. So, that little bastard is a little tough fucker. He comes in the how would you say that? He's a big punch in a little package or something like that. But anyways, he's fucking. I don't think Mike Tyson would be visiting him if he wasn't about it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think John Jones would be training with him if he wasn't about it. So, take that with a grain of salt. Even though I did say he has a big mouth, and he has backed it up. You know what I'm saying? And again, if he wasn't about it, I don't think Mike Tyson would be visiting him, and I don't think John Jones would be training with him. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if they're officially teammates and John Jones is fighting out of his gym or his same coach. I'm not even sure about all that, but I do know that John Jones spent a lot of time with him because even Henry Cejudo even dropped some little videos, little shorts on him and Bones Jones being together. You know what I'm saying? And training together. And so you know what I mean? That's where we're at with that. So anyways, um so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. I might drop another one a little bit about the food. The question by Rojo 650 asked me about what to feed him. He said he seems like his dog's losing weight since he got him. So I'll be dropping that. So with that being said, Big Lou tapping out.